Hey dude, so here's my tier list for milk chocolate bars. I haven't seen anybody else do this, which is annoying because it definitely deserves to exist and be out there for people to debate. I got frustrated and it took me 2 years to get all this together. Um, I had to eat like 3 kilos of chocolate mostly because I kept buying the same ones over again because I didn't think I did, but I did. Uh, This is really only here for the ones that claim to be chocolatey and not real chocolate, because that's just kind of messed up. But none of these are really a fail of a bar. Overall, they're all fine, but some of them are better than others. I'm looking for if it says it's got where it gets the ingredients, if they got a good message that helps humanity, if the ingredients are simple, how it feels after you eat it, does it burn, like or does it hurt? Do you got a stomach ache? Uh, if the company is at least trying to make it look like it's working in good faith, I mean, they don't have to. They don't. I mean, there's no way to prove that they actually are, but it says something that they actually make it look like they're trying, or if they are actually trying. Uh, that chocolatey or waxiness, that size for the price. I couldn't track all the prices, and I kept forgetting. And the prices have changed so much since I first started this that just you can just go based off if it sounds good or not, or if you like it. Because I mean, how often are you buying chocolate anyway? And then does it give you a way to interact with the company? Is it vegan? Talking about its first to last bite, if it's more bitter or more sweet, if it's fun to eat, how it melts, if you should take one piece of it and like stagger it, or if it's alright to eat it all at once, how it snaps, if there's a nice story on the packaging, or how the packaging looks. Uh, and yeah, again, how you feel after you first start eating it versus a little while later. And then I'll give it my personal out of 10. And when applicable, what the vegan said, we had a vegan on staff to give their opinions because they tasted the vegan bars much differently than I did. So I tried to write that down when I had the chance. And so the first one, so you know we're not fucking around, is Hershey's. Overall, the first bite was fine. It's not it's not vegan, but you can feel the sugar and not not like how if it's gritty, but like you can feel that there's a good amount of sugar in here. It's not bitter at all. It's only sweet, maximum sweetness. But it's also got those classic shapes that are fun to eat. Um, for the melting experience, it burns my throat pretty pretty good. Portion you can eat as much as you can take. It's probably going to be different for everybody, but I couldn't take a lot of this. Um, the snap is that's that classic snap you grow up with. You know, there's no story. First I felt fine, but then later I could feel a big lump of sugar just like sitting in my stomach, and it just thinking of it right now just doesn't make me feel good. Honestly, 6 out of 10. It's fine. It's fine. I mean, they're like the best or close to the best in the world for a reason, but for me, C tier. Next up is 365 milk chocolate organic from Whole Foods. The first bite was less like chocolate and more like chocolate flavored wax. It's not vegan, and it's not too bitter. It's not too sweet. It's very in the middle. the big squares that it bites into are kind of fun. Uh, the burn was again about in the middle, but definitely eat this in like thirds, I would say. It's 85 grams. I tried to keep track of the weight for most of these, but most of them were at around 85. So if you can find something for cheap that's over 85, you're probably getting a good deal. The snap is okay. First moments I felt fine. There's no story, and 5 out of 10. Not the best, but not a bad choice either. It's kind of good at just being super mid, and there's honestly nothing wrong with that. The Akinozi Chocolate Company, that Davio flavor. It says 62% dark, but then it said milk chocolate, so I thought I'd get it. This was this was bitter, but extremely smooth. Like extreme. I was shocked at how smooth it was. Uh, they're not vegan. It's more bitter. It's almost as bitter as possible, almost, but it's just before that. That thin. It's a. You can see it's got uh, that thin bar broken up by little squares with raised up letters. So that's kind of a cool texture. Really bad to let this sit in your mouth and melt it. It was, to me, it was bitter and it didn't taste good. It was gross, but it was smooth and it left my mouth very dry. I'm not saying that's a good or bad thing, but so you're aware. I'm gonna try to not make this sound so partial because it's just my personal experience. It might be different for everybody. Where was I? Oh yeah, so it left my mouth dry, which was interesting. I would say portion this like 1 to 3 of those small square pieces like a day, and you should be good. Another 85-gram bar, for, and it's nearly like $10, but it gives an overall company history, which is nice. It's very simple ingredients, and it had goat's milk, and that's one of the reasons why I got it, because that's just so interesting to me. Uh, I felt sickly about halfway done with being done with the bar. Uh, it's probably a good bar. It's very simple, but I don't feel good after eating it, so I'm gonna stick it right here. C tier. Next, Alter Ego. Uh, First bite, not bad. It wasn't terrible. It's not vegan. It's 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 more bitter, but not the most bitter. So it's somewhere towards a 2. They got real big shapes, and I wish they were broken up smaller. The melt XP wasn't bad. It's got a light. It's got like a 2 for a burn, so it's not terrible. You could portion this like throughout the day, but you could also eat it all at once. 75 grams. Snaps okay. Story, they're very proud. They're the cleanest, greenest chocolate, and they're paying their farmers. But just my conspiracy theory brain, something feels off about the delivery of the statements. That just like it rings the paranoia in the back of my head. I don't have anything against these guys, but like, and maybe I was on something when I wrote this, but my conspiracy theory brain was like ringing when I was reading how they talk about themselves. But after I finished the bar, I felt okay. Solid personal, solid 6 out of 10. Decent bar. B tier. Next, I got that Beyond Good Madagascar Fleur de sel, and I didn't know what fleur de sel was when I was buying all these, but after looking it up, it means that there's just a special kind of salt in it, which is fine. It's Madagascar single origin salt, chocolate. This was a vegan bar, so I had the vegan do the review, and the vegan said, quote, "It's an experience. It's bitter in the beginning, but a little salty. It's kind of mellow, and it goes through like a small journey." And I wasn't able to get a taste of the bar because they swiped it before I could try any of it. So we're going to play it safe and put it right here with the guys that are perfectly fine. Next we got Bixby. This is the main grains oat milk chocolate bar. So yeah, this is vegan. First bite, it's just simple and straight. It's really nice. Vegan vegan bar. It's bitter, but it's not as bitter as you would think it is. So like take like a bitter chocolate bar and just like bring it up a level, just a little bit. It wasn't too fun to eat for me. It was just a basic flat bar, but like the way the swirls are on top, it's like they just pour it, like do a little design, and then they let it cure like that. So I think that's pretty cool. It does not melt easy, and when it is melting, you can feel like the tiny little grains of what was ground up to make the bar, which makes it really unique. Um, there's and for as bitter as it was, there's like little to no burn. I'm pretty sure it's got something to do with the sugar content for the burning. So like 4 to 5 for no burning, really nice. You could eat half in each sitting that you have this and be good. A 56-gram bar. It's got a nice snap. Again, doesn't melt easily. The story, made from scratch from single origin in Maine. That's awesome. I feel fine after eating it. Personally, 8 out of 10. It's a it's good. I don't judge this just because he's short. Short king, A tier. And the for the vegans said it's smooth and creamy. It tastes more like cocoa butter than chocolate. It tastes buttery but not bitter. They wish it was a thicker bar, almost like fudge that you could put on anything. Not the favorite, but better than the vegan options in other companies. Uh, it bends and it lacks a satisfying snap. That's what the vegan said. But personally, for me, A tier. Blue Stripe. This is the vegan's favorite company for vegan bars at the moment. I didn't do it. Again, they swiped it from me before I could actually try it. But what they said was it's how thick they want other bars to be, and they would definitely get it again. They love that it's upcycled, and it's a nice low calorie option by comparison with other vegan bars. It tastes very homemade. It's soft, not not a bad crunchy, but more filling than other vegan bars. So we'll give that a nice solid B tier. All right, the Buggy Bar. The first bite is like fudge or frosting. It's not vegan. It's it's very sweet. It's very sweet. It's a flat bar with a logo stamped on it. Doesn't have any break lines. It's about a 3 for the burn on the melt, so it's right in the middle. It's not terrible, but it's very sugary. You can eat it all at once. It's or not. It's pretty mid. 42.5 grams. It snaps fine. It's just a normal flat bar. There's no story. It's just simple. I feel fine after the first bites, but like afterwards I get all bubbly and gurgly. I'm not sure what that is. So I'll set that right in C tier. Next is the, oh, that Cadbury Dairy milk chocolate bar. This one was not fun for me. The first bite was like kind of lame, but it's like, it's that Easter chocolate in a bar. It's not vegan. 5 on the sweetness. All sweet. There's not a hint of bitterness. It's not too fun to eat. It's just basic squares. Uh, on the melt, I rate it 1 to 5 for the melt, right? With 5 being very bad. This is a 6. The burning that I felt after eating this was just almost painful. Almost painful. Like it really bothered me. You could eat one piece of this occasionally throughout the day. Just make sure to drink lots of water. 99 grams. The snap is very soft. It almost bends when I had it. There's no story, but that color purple is pretty cool, I guess. Uh, I do not feel good after eating barely half the bar. I would give it personally, I give it 1 out of 10. It's just not a good bar for me. It's it's good at being creamy, but that's it. Next is that Calebot. Uh, I've seen these in giant chunks or full massive bars at that local grocery store. Oh, like I might as if I say their name right. Um, I thought I was grabbing a small piece, but it was still half a pound, and at $10 a pound, it's honestly one of the cheaper ways to get chocolate. So if you want to get like decent chocolate for cheap, check this out. Check this option out. The flavor is very similar to another really good chocolate brand. It's not vegan. It's thick. Like and it was the hardest for me to eat because it was like chewing on a brick. When I was eating it, it was like breaking like a piece of ceramic or volcanic rock. I would need like a knife or a hammer, if not just melt it. I know it's probably made to be melted, but I tried eating it just like a normal bar. It was not easy. The melt XP didn't burn my throat too bad. I would say portion this for like every once in a while. If you do it all in one sitting, you're gonna get hurt. It's gonna hurt you. Uh, it's got, but they come in various sizes and weights, so I can't really give a definitive one. But when I got it, it was $11 a pound. It's got, it doesn't have a story. Uh, I felt a little sick or sour after eating it, so I didn't finish it. But I mean, it's half a pound of chocolate. Sorry. It's honestly the best for simplicity's sake. I would give it a solid 5 out of 10. And it's good for, lots of product for the money. So, A tier. On to Choco Love. The first bite was not bitter, and it feels watery until it melts off out of my mouth. It's not vegan. Right in the middle, not too bitter, not too sweet. It's a little fun to eat. It's like the pieces are smooth but not rounded. But they do have those little bumps that make it feel like it's rounded. Um, the melt XP wasn't too bad. It had less burn, but not no burn. So like 2. You could definitely eat this in one sitting. 90-gram bar. Snaps really good. There's no story, but there's a confusing poem inside. I couldn't get it. My brain's not big enough to read that kind of stuff. Uh, I did feel a little bit sour after eating it. in my stomach. Honestly, personally, 3 out of 10. I don't know what their deal is, but the bar ain't bad. C tier. Next, Divine. First bite was like very mellow. Very like it's almost hard. It's almost hard to explain, which is weird. Not vegan. Solid even 3. Not bitter. Not too sweet. It's oddly cut, and that made it really fun to eat for me. 2 on the burn. It's got a lower burn. You could probably eat this all at once. 85-gram bar. There we go. Or is it better like that? We'll leave it. 85-gram bar. It snaps fine. It's got a great story. It tells how they started, what their mission is, their goals, and they mentioned combating child slavery, which for the chocolate industry, for anybody to do that, you get major points. Um, you do lose points by mentioning climate change because it's like I figure it's hard to focus on one if you're focusing on the other one. And to me personally, the child slavery is more pressing than climate change is. I felt fine after eating it. Honestly, personally, 9 out of 10. It's the only other bar to even mention the child trafficking or slavery in the chocolate industry. So I'll slap that at the top of A tier. Next up, endangered species chocolate with their smooth and creamy milk chocolate bar. The first bite was bitter. It's not vegan. It's more bitter. I'd put it at a 2. Normal flat bar with small squares. Uh, Melt XP, no, 1. No burn. No burn at all. I would say portion this throughout the day. 85 grams. It snaps fine. I don't feel bad after I eat it. I feel average. But they're very up about how they save the animals. But with how they put it makes my paranoia go off. But still, great message. Personally, 5 out of 10. Not the best, but just fine. Really just fine. I'll set that right in there. Right in the middle of B tier. Now before I continue, I just want to iterate. I paid for every single bar with my own money, which turned into which wasn't cheap. But I wasn't giving these I wasn't to, I was I'm just giving my personal opinion on all these. I bought all these bars when I ate them. I wasn't I'm not being paid. I received no benefit from doing this review at all besides giving somebody else an idea to do the same thing just because nobody had I just wanted to find a good milk chocolate bar and nobody had any reviews or tier lists. It was always comparing like a Payday to a Hershey's to a Reese's. Nobody had just milk chocolate bars. So please somebody make a better tier list. But sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. I wasn't paid for this. Nobody gave me these bars. I bought them all with my own money. My opinions are my own, 100%. That being said, I'm not even gonna wave this around. Straight to S tier. The first bite was delicious. It's somehow sweeter than Hershey's, but not as sickening. And they do have, and while the one I had, the normal flavor wasn't vegan, they do have vegan options. It's not it's not bitter at all. It's similar but better than Easter chocolate or Dove. I would give it a 4 on the sweetness. It's and it's absolutely the funnest to eat out of all of these bars because of the way that they distribute the pieces. And you'll see what I mean if when you ever get it, it's really cool. Um, the Meltex beads, not bad at all. There is a burning sensation, but it's not as bad as like some of the stuff down here or some of the stuff down, especially these. I would for if I was doing just the burn, I would put it probably at the top of B tier. You could portion this out, but you could absolutely do it all in one sitting. And one of the things I like about it, they got huge bars, huge, like this. It probably takes four of the Bixby's to make a single Tony's. The size of the bars are rivaled only by the Icelandic chocolate company, which we'll get to. Which it's still bigger than because it's more than it's because it's one solid bar instead of two smaller bars stacked on top of each other. It gives you more than twice the amount of chocolate for the price that you pay compared to other bars. It's 180 grams, and depending on if they're on sale or not, I've gotten bars for 350. I've gotten them for six. I've gotten them for $6. But if you're low on cash, definitely save up for a sale and then do like a bulk buy of an entire sleeve because I would absolutely do that and destroy them. It's when they snap, it's like cracking your knuckles or like medium intensity campfire. It's really fun. And I can say this with certainty, besides maybe Divine, no other company talks talks about brings up the message that they do, which is slavery in the modern day and how the entire nearly the entire chocolate industry. I think it might have been what was it, Alter Ego, that has that single source. Oh no, no, it was Bixby's that has that single source um chocolate. Maybe besides Bixby's, all these other guys, actually including Tony's, talk about benefit from slavery thanks to how the chocolate industry is currently set up. But these guys are the only ones that ever bring it up or are trying to share awareness about it. And for like something as simple as a chocolate company to do it, it's amazing. And they give you if you want to get involved or try to make a difference in some way, you should go check out their website because they got like a whole litany of things to check out. I'm honestly, from the first moment I saw these, I was brainwashed because I looked at the size of the bar and I saw the price and I'm like, sold. And the fact that they bring it up right on the front cover of the chocolate is so ballsy, and it's just so refreshing to see people at least trying to show that they care and like trying to work with people and help make the world a lightly better place. You should I would highly suggest checking out how that company got started because I'm sure all these guys have an interesting story, especially Bucky's. But how this company got started from where it began to where it is now is incredibly interesting. He tried to long story short, he tried to get the state to sue him for taking part of slavery, which is illegal, which which they didn't do because it would have set a precedent for all these other guys to get behind. Like the owner actually tried to get put in jail because buying chocolate is partaking in slavery. And if it wasn't for such a high demand, it would really mess up the supply chain of all the other cocoa products. But anyway, I got sidetracked. But it's my absolute favorite for the flavor, the size, the price, and the story. Absolute 10 out of 10. You're not going to get better transparency, flavor, fun, size, and the amount of care that they get involved in. And for their vegan options, the vegan said it's not they don't have their favorite vegan options, but they're not bad. So like if your vegan is craving and it's nearby, it's their vegan options aren't a terrible way to go. The Great Value milk chocolate bar was shocking to me. It was absolutely shocking. They Great Value did a good job with this one. The first bite was fine. It's not vegan. It's got a 4. I give it a 4 for the sweetness. It doesn't have any normal shapes. It's just a normal bar. The melt XP was in the middle, so like a normal burn as the rest of all these guys. But 100 grams, I would say portion this in halves when you go to eat it. It's got a very soft snap. In the first moments, I feel like bleh, but then later I feel fine after eating it. Make sure you have water on hand though. Honestly, personally, 7 out of 10. It's cheap, but it's like it's quality as heck. I would put it. Hmm, I'll put it second place in B tier. I might change that later. These. Yeah, I'll fix it. I'll fix it later. Now the Hershey Symphony. First bite, it feels like average chocolate, but it's got a strange bitter aftertaste. It has chocolate as an ingredient, which is wild. Like does that mean they're just recycling the chocolate that gets snipped off or something? I'm not sure. It's not vegan. It's very sweet. Like you might as well be eating raw sugar. 5 out of 5 for the sweetness. Um, it's normal to eat, like just like a normal Hershey bar with their classic shapes. The melt is fine, but it really burns after it's done melting. Like 5 on the most severe on the burning. That's another 5. It's probably related to the sugar content. Eating it all at once, you feel gross. But it's your average white bar, 120 grams, no satisfying snap, and in place of a story, they have like this selfish brainwashing. I don't feel great after eating it. I actually didn't finish this one. Personally, 2 out of 10. But it's good, but it's a very corporate product. I would still put Cadbury dead last because that was just an experience. Okay, who get back to human simple milk chocolate? Sorry about the way the bar got cut off, but that's what it was. The first bite was more bitter than sweet, but it's too and it was too much to eat all of it, even though it's a smaller bar. This one is not vegan, but they did have vegan options. I'd give for the sweetness, I'd give it a 2. It's more bitter than sweet. It's honestly, it feels normal to eat. I'd give it a 2 for the melt. It melts fine, and it's got a light burn. I would say portion the pieces you get throughout the day. 65-gram bar. It snaps nice. feels not waxy, but you can feel like that dust that we felt in those other bars. It's got, I mean, simple messaging. It's right on the bar, and they mean it when they say simple, and it feels really straightforward and honest. The first moments I felt not bad, and later didn't feel too bad either. I personally I'd give it a 7 out of 10. It's the best at being simple and very simple. You'll have a hard time finding something more simple than this. I'll be honest. I'll stick you. I'll stick you there for now. Dead center. The traditional Icelandic chocolate. Its its special feature is that there's two bars in there instead of one big one like Tony's is. But when you hold them together, they're about the same size, nearly. Um, the first bite, very neutral, not vegan. I'd give it a sweetness of 2. So it's closer to it's middle to bitter. Uh, the way that it's pieced out, it's got a bunch of smaller squares. But the melt XP 1, no burn. You can portion it. It's a good bar. Um, it's got 2 100-gram bars. It snaps nice. There's no story, just the information that you need to see. I feel fine after eating this. It's simple, straightforward, and it really lets the chocolate speak for itself. Okay, Lake Champlain milk chocolate. The first piece was fine, very neutral. Flavor, meh. Very similar to 365, actually. It's not vegan. It's got a 3. It's got a 3, so nothing of note. It's got many squares, but I wouldn't say it's really fun. For the melt XP, I would give it a 2. So it doesn't have too bad of a burn. You could portion this, but it's honestly not great either way. I mean, it's fine, but it's not great. 85 grams. It's got a soft snap, and I feel average, but also a bit sour after eating this. It's got that story. Oh boy, what happened? Get back over there. Sorry. It's it's got this story like brainwashing you to like it and pretending it's an experience, and then to like and share to advertise the bar. But I you don't really have a message good enough to really share besides just being a chocolate bar that's fine to eat. Uh, after eating it, I mean, I feel fine after eating, but about a little while later, I start to feel sour. Personally, 4 out of 10. It's another corporate feeling bar, but it's still a solid choice. Stick that right in C tier. Okay, Lily's creamy milk chocolate style bar. That kind of sets off an alarm bell. Like, what do you mean milk chocolate style? What other style is it supposed to be? The first bite was okay. It's got a heavy sweet to the it's heavily sweet almost to the point of being tart, which was interesting. It's not vegan. I'd give it a 4 on the sweetness scale. It's got many small squares that make up a big bar. The melt XP was awful. Heavy burn. Uh, it snaps which kind of hurts to say this next thing, that it snaps really nice. It's probably one of my favorite for tactile reasons, how it snaps. It's really cool. 85-gram bar. First moments after eating were not great. It feels icy going down, and I got small stomach aches, short term and long term after having it. And I had water while I was drinking this. Personally, 3 out of 10. I don't recommend it. D tier. Next is the Lindt or Lindt classic recipe milk chocolate bar. Just the normal milk. This is another tall one that couldn't fit inside the screen, so you'll have to put up with me. First bite overall not bad. It's not vegan. It's got normal shapes, but they don't break evenly, which was kind of frustrating. On a burn though, oh, it's for the sweetness I'd give it a 4. It's more sweet. It's not too bitter. For the melt XP, I'd give it a 1. There was no burn, but I had this like leftover slime in my mouth. I'm not sure if that was my fault or if it's something about the bar. I would say eat this slowly and you should be fine. It's 125 grams. It snaps okay. It melts really nice. Like how it feels when it's melting. Um, the story is okay. It's just a statement for the bar. And I feel okay. I feel okay after half a bar and a little meh. You know, not bad after a little while, but just a little meh. Personally, out of 10, I'd give it a 5 to 8 because it depends on how you feel when you eat the bar. So I'll hit that at the bottom of C. Alright, next is the Lindt classic recipe oat milk. So it's the same as this one. It's the vegan of this, of the one we just talked about. The first bite, it's a bit waxy and it stuck to my teeth, but not in a bad way necessarily. This one is oat milk, so it's vegan. I would give it a 5 on the sweetness. Not bitter at all. You can only taste the sweet. Cuts into simple squares. I would, for the burn on the melt XP, I'd give it a 1. It's honestly the best. It was the best for a burn. There was no burn at all. I would say you should portion it by the rows if you're gonna be eating it. 100 grams. It snaps very gently. And this is just Lindt's answer for the vegans. It's got no story. I felt fine after eating it. Personally, I would say 9 out of 10, and it's the best vegan bar so far. I've yet to find a better vegan bar than this one right here. So I'll put that at the bottom of A tier. And the vegan said it was the perfect amount of sweet. The perfect amount of sweet for the vegan. Next up, we got that Lindt. Excellent. This is the excellence. So the other two are the classic recipe. This is the excellence. Extra creamy. The first bite was not great. It's not vegan. I would give it a 5 on the sweetness. Way, way sweet. It's got those normal big squares that Lindt is known for. The Melt XP, I'd put it right in the middle. It burns, but not terribly. You could portion it by the big pieces, but don't eat this all at once. 100 grams. It snaps okay, but again, it's very slimy on the melt. I'm not sure why that is. It's got no story, just a statement, and I feel gross after like the first bites. I would personally 4 out of 10. Very, very sweet. Okay, next with the Lindor milk chocolate truffle bar. I saw milk chocolate bar and I decided to add it in. If you don't think it deserves to be here, that's a shame. Maybe have somebody do a better chocolate bar tier list. I don't know why it had to be me to make this stupid thing, but here we are. The first bite, very neutral. It's not vegan. It's kind of fun being so skinny and tall, which is another reason why I got it. I just thought that was so cool. The Melt XP, it's got no burn until a couple minutes later. Uh, it's it's got a 4 for the sweetness, so it's more sweet, but you could smash this bar in one sitting and be okay. 38 grams. It's very soft. I wonder what it would be like to refrigerate it and see how it's different. It's just a it's just you get that guaranteed quality with the Lindor, like a chocolate filling on the inside. After the first moments of eating it, I felt fine, but like I felt sick like soon after. But to be honest, I kind of want to eat it again, and have it be refrigerated, see how it's different. Personally, 6 out of 10. It's not a bad bar. I just don't like how I feel afterwards. And he's the best at being a tall little skinny bar. Okay, Mast. I got a bone to pick with Mast. First bite, it was more of a bitter flavor than other non-dairies. This is the Mast oat milk chocolate bar. They might have a milk chocolate bar, but I couldn't find it at the time. It wasn't in the rotation. Uh, but yeah, it's got that more bitter flavor than the other non-dairy bars, and you can feel the graininess, which I guess is a quality that some of these bars just have, which is, I mean, it makes it interesting. I'll say that at a minimum. It's definitely more bitter than sweet. It's got these normal looking squares. Melt XP, I'll put it at a 2. It's kind of a bit lame for the burning on the Melt XP. Uh, Honestly, eat as you want, but I don't like I don't like it at all. 70 grams. It snaps meh. There's no story. It just kind of strokes your ego a little bit. And I feel okay after eating it. Personally, for 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 the experience of just eating the bar, I'd put it at like a 3 out of 10, despite it being a vegan bar. And the vegan was not able to try this one. Okay, Milk Boy Switzerland. This was one of the first bars that I wrote down a review for, so the parameters were a little different, so bear with me. But the first bite was not good. It's not vegan. It's sweeter, so I put it at like a 3.5 for the sweetness. 3.5. I'd say it's very normal to eat. I like how it's got those little cocoa beans on the bar squares, but I've seen those in a couple other bars. And you will too if you ever get the chance to look at them. Uh, it melts very easily. The melt XP was like no burn, 1 out of 5 for the burn. You could probably eat this in one sitting, but I would suggest do half now and half later. It's another typical thin, wide bar like the Lints are at 100, and it's 100 grams, and it snaps more like earmuffs. Is the only way I can explain it. Uh, I like how the story is. It's got milk gotten from mountain cattle and cocoa obtaining but the cocoa obtaining feels really globalish. And it says it partners with the Rainforest Alliance and it's certified, but my main draw is that it shows you how much energy there is in the nutrition facts. I thought that was really unique about the Milk Boy Switzerland. I feel a bit sour stomached at as as soon after I finished the whole bar. And personally, 4.5 out of 10. It's not the best, but it's just a solid bar that stands strong to other bars. So I would personally set it somewhere in the top 3 of B. Okay, Moo. I thought Moo was just gonna be a little guy, but I got beef. I got beef with Moo. The Moo solid milk chocolate bar. First bite was very, very sweet. Not vegan. I would give it a 5 on the sweetness. Very highly, highly sweet. And it's fun to eat. For the shapeliness, it's fun to eat because it's small. And for the for the melt XP, I would definitely give it a 4. It's got that higher burn. I would portion it if you want, but it's small enough to eat in one sitting. 19.84 grams. They're very particular about that 0.84 grams. It snaps fine. There's no story. It's just a simple bar. I feel sour. I feel sour shortly after eating it. I would give it a 4. Personally, I'd give it a 4 to 5 out of 10. It's not the worst bar, and it's definitely good at being small. Okay, the Mr. Beast Feastables. What's that? Is that the milk chocolate bar? Yeah. The first bite was nice. It tasted, but it tasted like the Cadbury. It's not vegan. I would give it a 5. It's very on the sweetness. It's very, very sweet. It is funner to eat with the way they have the shape set up. So it's that makes it unique. And personally, I think it's better than the OG flat bars. But the melt XP gives a very big burn. I'd give it a 4 for the burn. I would say take one piece like per hour, because otherwise you're in for a bad time. 60 grams. It's got no story. I feel sour after eating. Really not great. Personally, 3 out of 10. But it's good at being sold by Mr. Beast. So I would put it at the bottom of C, but the top of D. And that Mr. Beast original chocolate bar. That first bite, it's like a darker chocolate. It's not a bad choice on average. It's not vegan. I'd give it a 2. I'd give it a 2. It's more bitter. It's not fun, but it's very straightforward. I mean, I know it's got those zigzag lines, but that doesn't. I mean, it doesn't really do much. Uh, on the melt XP, I'd give it a 3. It melts really easy, but it burns my tongue more than it burns my throat. I'd say it's more of a half now, half later kind of bar, but you could do either. 60 grams. It snaps fine. It melts faster, but it's flat though. It's very chocolatey. No story, but just food for the subscribers, you know? It feels okay after the first eat, and I feel fine afterwards too. Personally, I would give it an 8 out of 10. And it's the best at being a bar from Mr. Beast. I would stick this probably right on top of Who, B tier. Next up, I got that Ritter Sport. It's just interesting how different this Mr. Beast bar is from this one. Anyway, that I got that Ritter Sport Alpine milk chocolate bar. The first bite, just solid chocolate bar. Honestly, just solid. It's not vegan. I'd give it a 4 for the sweetness. It's mostly sweet. It's got these fun little half-inch squares, which is kind of interesting. For the burn, I'd put it right in the middle at a 3. It's not terrible, but it's definitely there. I would say portion it in 2 halves at most. 100 grams. The snap in the mouth feel fine. It's got no story, and after you feel fine at first, but after a while, like it doesn't it it doesn't feel that great. I'd give it like a I'd give it some mild discomfort a little while after eating it. Personally, five out of I'd give it a 5 out of 10. It's a good middle of the road. It's not great. It's not bad, but it's the best at being its own little unique shape, kind of like this is. So I'll put it near the top of C tier. Okay, the next is the Schmilk, specifically the classic Schmilk vegan milk chocolate. Uh, the first bite was like, to me, it's like a melty crayon, not grainy. It's vegan. It is vegan. The one I had, I just couldn't get an image of it. Uh, for the bitterness, I'd give it a 2. It's definitely a bit darker and watery. It's not too fun to eat. The melt XP is fine. Absolutely no burn. 1 out of 5 for the burn. It's small enough to eat in one sitting. 51 grams. It's not easy. It wasn't easy to see how heavy it was, but it's got a good snap and it doesn't melt too fast. The story on the back has this kind of cringe brainwashing. The inside has a picture of a wizard cow, so points for that. But then it asks you to advertise on your social medias and you can get 15% off the bar. Where'd I put it? Actually, no, hold on. So, I mean, you do something for them, they do something for you. It's got cashew milk and it's all fair trade ingredients. So it's got that going for it, which is probably why it doesn't make you feel sick. I feel okay after eating it. Personally, 7 out of 10. It's not the best or the worst vegan bar, but it's like, I would say it's like the cool millennial auntie of chocolate bars. I'd stick it right there, in the middle of B tier. And the vegan said I would buy 4 or 5 of these and eat them in one sitting. They're not that chocolatey, they're soft and nice, and they have a crack to it. The flavor's the flavor's not better than other bars. The texture is a little better because it's not as melty, but it's not as tasty as other bars either. Uh, they want the vegan wants like a thicker chocolate bar. They want like a they want like a thick chocolate bar with a little less bitterness and a little more hardness for the bite. Okay, next is the chocolate from Taza. Taza chocolate vegan and dairy-free almond milk organic chocolate bar classic. And the cool part about this one is the picture is pretty close to actual size on the bar, though it is thin. The first bite for me was not great, and it had these small, unmelted salt grits all throughout it, and personally, I don't like that. I know some people do. Uh, I wish I knew that, but it didn't say it on the packaging. It's okay. It is vegan. It's I'd give for the bitterness. I'd give it a 1. It's definitely more bitter than most bars. Uh, the uh, the milk XP though, it almost doesn't burn at all, but it still feels like dark chocolatey. Uh, this is the best. Probably eating 1/4 of it per sitting. 70 grams, and it snaps down to its smallest pieces, which is nice. And the cool part about this one is that it's in a bag that's resealable, which I think that's kind of cool. Um, their story says they deal directly with people who supply ingredients for the bar, and they pay them more than fair trade, and that explains how and what is ground to get the flavor, which is actually really good. And they also explain how and what is ground to get their flavors, which I think that's kind of cool. But I felt like bitter in my stomach as well as my mouth after eating it. Personally, 7 out of 10. And the vegan said that it's a classic flavor, but it tastes more like chocolate and water. It's definitely less addictive and not as creamy. That's what the vegan said. I would stick this probably right there. You stay there. You come up here. You come up here. Mm. Now remember this is eating the bars on their own. This isn't mixing them with anything or or using them to dip food into or making s'mores. This is straight up on their own as they are. This is how good everything is. Getting near the end here. Okay, Theo. Fair trade. Fair trade, pure organic, pure milk chocolate bar. The first bite is nice, and it bites fine. It's not vegan. For the sweetness, I'd give it a 3. It's not sweet, but it's not bitter. It's it's fine to eat. It's got those 8 thin, big squares that a lot of these bars have. You can honestly do what you want. You got full freedom to eat this however you like, because it's pretty versatile in that way. 85 grams. It's just it's it's kind of just nice. Like the people are just said, yeah, we made it and we like it, and I can appreciate that. I get and after the first bite, I feel fine, and later on, I still feel fine. Personally, 8 out of 10. It doesn't hurt, and it's got that interesting soft bitterness to it. So I would stick this. Mm, yeah, I think I'd set that right there. And then Tony's Chocolonely again. For just being so nice, I had to add it twice. I'll put Tony's in the S tier 2 times. Once for how good the bar is, and once for what they do for trying to change the industry and make it better and make the people who run it better. Because if you can change the industry and make it better, you can make good money instead of taking that money home not knowing where it came from. It's better for everyone throughout the chain. I won't get into that right now. Oh, and our last but certainly not least, we'll put him in on the we'll put our little chocolate mascot guy right at the top for being the best boy and waiting his turn very patiently. You did a very good job, young man. Thank you for waiting and being nice to all the other chocolate bars. Uh, I'm gonna reorganize this. Let me see here. There we go. That's my final listing. We got Tony's coming out on top for being the best bar. Second place Divine. Third place Icelandic Chocolate. Fourth place Bixby's. Fifth place Lind Oat Milk. Which I mean honestly, just for how chocolate with milk in it typically makes me feel. I could eat that oat milk all day. Those oat milk bars are crazy for not making me feel like dirt. And yeah, that's the whole list. So if you disagree, let me know. If you need me to re-justify anything again, let me know. If you have a bar that I missed that I should go get and try it out and add it to the list, let me know. Sorry if this list isn't perfect, but nobody else put one out, so I had to. Anyway, be safe, dude. Thanks for hanging out. I'll see you.